Welcome to Arthur Round Photography. Today I want to talk about the 40mm lens as a focal length, and in particular I want to talk about the Canon 40mm f2.8 STM lens. There's been quite a bit in the press recently and on YouTube about 40mm being the ideal focal length for a full frame camera, because it actually mimics the focal length that you would get with a 50mm lens on a cinema frame, because obviously the 35mm frame is turned around the other way when it's used for cine work. And there seems to be some kind of mojo that the 40mm focal length is the ideal to go for. For us older photographers, perhaps the 40mm lens is not a new thing, and my relationship with this focal length goes back a long way. Back in the late 1970s and early 80s, most of my photographic work was done on Canon equipment. I had a Canon A1, AE1, loads of lenses, and I was doing corporate report work and that type of thing. I was always a bit worried about having my gear stolen when when I was say away on holidays or travelling, and also in those days, if you had expensive Canon gear, the customs people always gave you a good grilling when you came back from holidays as to where you might have bought the stuff, and it was a bit embarrassing sometimes getting pulled over at customs. So I decided, because of that, to buy some lighter, cheaper gear to take with me when I went travelling, and I bought a couple of second-hand Pentax bodies, Pentax ME and a Pentax MX. The Pentax M series were quite nice. They were a smaller, lighter SLR than anything else was on the market at the time, and Pentax also produced a very nice 40mm pancake lens which went with these bodies as well. So, ironically, actually, I did keep these for about 4 years, used them extensively, and then I decided to sell them. And then within a few weeks, I did have all my Canon gear stolen. But that's another story. So, but because of how I enjoyed the 40mm focal length with the Pentax all those years ago, I was quite excited when I heard that Canon were going to release a 40mm pancake STM lens for the EOS system a few years ago, and I must admit I did put my order in straight away. And I've been using this one now for four years or so. It's a very, very versatile lens, and one thing that surprised me the most when I first got it was how good it was at close-up photography. It's a very sharp lens anyway, but it's very sharp close-up as well, and with quite a close focus on it. There's some photographs here of flowers and things I took. So it's good crisp close-up image actually. I found that it's obviously been lightweight as well. It's quite a good lens to take when I'm travelling. Again, some shots here I've taken in Saint-Tropez and in New England using the lens as well. So. One application that I've used it for as well is actually if I've been visiting the zoo or aquariums or anything, is because it's small, you can get right up against the glass with it in an aquarium, and kind of reduces reflections. And so I've one or two pictures of fish here that I've taken actually through glass using the lens as well. So quite good for street photography as well. So it's quite discreet even on the full frame body. So if I if I hold that up, it's not exactly a pocket camera. This is on a Canon 5D Mark II, but I've got an anorak with a big pocket. I can slip it in, and it's quite reasonably discreet. It's not like having a long lens to startle passers-by. So, and it's quite good for street scene photography as well, as you say. Yeah, so. I mean, if you're not familiar with the lens, it is small. I mean, you can see you can see where the name Pancake came from. This has it is an autofocus lens. You can switch between autofocus and manual. It is focused by wire, mind you, so you can only focus using the focusing ring when the camera's powered up. That's no hardship really. Obviously, a lens of this size, there's no image stabilisation, but it's fairly light, so it doesn't really waggle about much. It's easy to handhold at fairly low shutter speed. So it's got a 52mm front thread. I must admit that I've actually put a 58mm, 52 to 58mm converter on the front because I've got a lot of 58mm filters and caps and things. So. But all in all, this does seem a pretty good focal length for all-round photography, and so I'm very pleased with this. Being an STM lens, it does have full-time focusing for video work if your camera will support that facility. And I do use it for video work both on the full-frame camera and on the my Canon 70D, which is APS-C camera, and it has an equivalent focal length of about 65mm on that, which is good for video work and also for some portrait work as well. Again, it's f2.8. It's not the fastest lens out there, but provided you've got reasonable daylight, reasonable artificial lighting, it's a pretty good all-round lens. So. Right, hope you've enjoyed this, and look out for my next video. Remember to like, to comment, and to subscribe. Bye for now.